So you
That's
think P. Diddy
what
shouldn't go free is what you're trying to say?
I think he shouldn't go free in our community. I think he shouldn't be pedestalized. I don't think he should get the key to the city and get all of the awards. I don't think we should celebrate somebody who has demonstrated behavior that is antisocial, anti us. And I
Well,
don't
you
care
know
what
what? No, you know what?
Cassie's race. It's anti
So
behavior that we should not want our boys and girls to exhibit. Period.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
Tyler Merritt. We're talking about this P Diddy trial, but we're not really talking about the verdict came in. I don't. Have you been following it at all?
um because I knew I was coming on today, I tuned in and I knew the verdict was coming. So I've heard all of it. But I want to say this one thing to the caller that called in like within the past hour and say this. Anytime in your life, if somebody has owed you money and has paid you back that money, you feel like you were given what you deserve. Okay? But would there ever be a time in life that somebody is going to beat the ever living shite out of you and say, hey, let me just kick you down some money later and we'll be even? That's not how the world works. That's not how justice works. That's not how respect for another person works. Sure, maybe there's somebody who's out of their mind like, beat me down for 30 million, whatever. I'm talking real, in the real world. Have you ever been with somebody who went, I'm about to beat you down to an inch of your life, but we good because I'm gonna give you some money to make up for it later? No. We aren't dealing in justice right now with Diddy. We're not. Now, granted, we're in a trial, meaning that 12 jurors have decided what's going to happen. And that's how we are set up. We, as public individuals, can walk around from till the cats come home on how we feel about everything. But those 12 people held the fate of that man in his hands, and it could have gone either way. And I just, it's real hard for me. Well, first, I want to say this. It wasn't that hard for me to let go of R. Kelly, by the way. It just wasn't. And I remember when I knew R. Kelly was done, because I was at my dad's like 50th high school reunion in deep South Alabama, and somebody had like a little like portable like radio player thing, and he was skipping through songs, and he got to R. Kelly's "To Step to the Name of Love," and I saw these older folks in their 70s go, young man, you better turn that off. And I went, R. Kelly's done. Like, we have heard it from the top down. And I was like, I guess I don't listen to R. Kelly no more. That wasn't hard for me to give up. Diddy's complicated because he's so associated with so many of the MCs that I love. He's produced so many of the MCs that I love. You can find yourself listening to a Diddy track, didn't know you were listening to a Diddy track, right? So
Correct.
it's
Correct.
a little, there's some gray in there. But when you start to think about, imagine if Cassie was your daughter or your niece or your sister or Karen, if you and I were talking right now, and that was some shit that Diddy had done to you, you were to look at me and go, hey, Tyler, I don't want you to listen to Diddy no more. I'd be like, say less, Karen. Say
That's right.
less.
That's right. And I
I'm
think
done.
that relationship, we too quickly will demonize folk who have been abused because why did they stay and all, not understanding how that works, right? Not and somehow what we're telling the world about us is that maybe that's something I want to do. Dr. Black hit me between the eyes. A lady at my conference got up and she said, we're talking a lot about race. What about misogyny? What about misogyny? And Dr. Black was like, well, if we're being honest, some of you like misogyny. He said, you expect a man to walk on the outside of outside on the street. You expect them to hold the door for you. You expect them to pay for dinner. You like some misogyny. So which misogyny? Like you can't just pick through it. And when he said that, I said, yeah, I do. I expect those things. And I have opinions about men that don't do those things.
Right.
So I'm guilty of wanting to have my cake and eat it too. And I had to examine I had to really sit. He made me sit up. I had to sit up different. I said, wait a minute. Okay, that's how it works. So, racism, misogyny, all that is baked into the system, that this system thrives on those things working the way they're intended to.
Yeah.
And we have to buy into it in order for it to really work. I mean, how powerful it is to enslave 10 people, because that was the average, 10 on a plantation, to one person. Those 10 people who've been working, plowing, picking 500 pounds of cotton could beat the brakes off of that one person if they got together.
Right.
Unless they believed everything that was said about them. And how do you do that? Generation after generation, you have to beat that sense of self out of them. You are nothing. And so you will receive all of the pig entrails and whippings and N-words. But when you draw the line, and I've watched it, I've been this way my whole life. I've watched when I've confronted people or pushed back on something when people didn't expect it. And it's wild that they will, when a bully's being confronted, will capitulate to the strength, to the real strength in the room. So the way I assess things is we all need to be strong in ourselves. We all need to hold our heads up high and know who we are and not accept, if somebody is in the room and they are yelling out the B word, I'm not turning my head, because you definitely are not talking to me. And if you think you're talking to me, you're going to get a reaction that you're probably not expecting. I'm not clapping back. I'm not doing all of this, gesticulations. I'm not cussing you out.
Sure.
I'm going to make you feel like the small, tiny, knuckle-dragging individual that you are. Because I have words. I have many words. And I have different ways that I can show up in the world. But what I'm very clear about is that I belong here. I belong here.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
Important for everybody. All right.
So you think P. Diddy shouldn't go free is what you're trying to say?
I think he shouldn't go free in our community. I think he shouldn't be pedestalized. I don't think he should get the key to the city and get all of the awards. I don't think we should celebrate somebody who has demonstrated behavior that is antisocial, anti-us. And I don't care what Cassie's race. It's anti-behavior that we should not want our boys and girls to exhibit, period.
We need to be very specific about, this is where I think it can get tricky too. And I feel like I don't need to say this because I already just said how I feel about it. This is in no way trying to say that I'm on Diddy's side. This is what I'm saying. When we talk about us, though, I think where people find a weird connection is a big part of Diddy is that for as all the jacked up stuff that he did, the actual legal beating women, prostitution, all of that, Diddy's also just a freak. Like, he's a freak. And with that, hear me, there are a lot of freaks out there. There are a lot of people out there who are like, he wasn't at them parties by himself. Let's be very, very clear.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And there are a lot of people.
Let's go there. So again, grown people, do what you do in your bedroom. That's fine. I wasn't even thinking about the freak offs and the baby oil. And that's not, when I'm talking about him, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the abusive way in which he talks to young people who he's trying to shape into artists. Like, I've watched just about all of those making of the bands, and it was behavior as an educator, as somebody that respects young people, and really loves to see, I love to see the progression of somebody. Should be unacceptable behavior. Let's not even put the freak offs in it.
But that kind of behavior, though, I completely agree, is what it is. But we have put that in our entertainment. Like, we love to watch those.
We didn't do that.
I'm not saying we.
But you're saying something. Hold on. What you're saying is really powerful, because there was an Epstein Island, right? There was a whole island that Prince of, England and captains of industry, Bill Gates, allegedly, the president of the United States, and
Sure.
all kinds of, flew out to an island to have sex with underage with children. And everybody knew it. It was not even
Yeah.
a secret. It was not a secret. Okay? So I'm saying you're saying something. So is the question, and again, that says something about a society where people want to do that, where that's not just acceptable, it's almost like a club entry. Because what Diddy did, which I think is really diabolical, he would co-opt people into watching and participating. And again, our desire to be famous and rich is the way in. So the other goal for everybody listening is to be impenetrable,
Yeah.
meaning meaning that there's no place that somebody can find to bring you in. Like when I ask, what's your number? Oh, that's your number? All they need
Yeah.
to give you is $1 million and you'll do anything? All you need to do, oh, well, what will you do for $1 billion? Every time I see that, so that's what your soul is worth? Like I really feel like we have been conditioned that everything's for a price. And as people who are literally on auction blocks, that should never even be part of the
Right.
discussion.
Right. Right. First of all, you're diabolical for using the word impenetrationable or whatever you for I but we're just gonna let that go. All right. Now, with with that being said, I do think there is that element of people wanting to be known, people wanted to be in a certain people group or into a certain class and feeling like, I guess this is just what they do or what they're a part of. And then there's a part of folks that are just freaks. The porn industry is not the porn industry on accident. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
okay. Let me ask you this, Tyler
mm-hmm.
Merritt, and everybody listening. The number here is 866-801-8255. What the hell is the number? 866-801-TALK is the number. All right, y'all figure out what those numbers and letters represent. I believe this with every fiber of my being, that you speak things into existence. So if you're inundating people with porn, do they desire porn? Like I grew up in a neighborhood where I would walk to the corner store, Hoffman Boulevard, go under the bridge, and there was a big sign for cigarettes, too big, like Marlboro, and it was cool. And it's a black neighborhood. I go to a white neighborhood, I don't see that. I don't see the advertisement. If I go down to Central Avenue, there's a Boston Market, a Wendy's, a Burger King, and a McDonald's, like on each corner. 125th Street, Harlem, same thing. I see none of that in white neighborhoods, right? No fast food on every corner, right? I think about, access and put promotion. This is why I'm the way I am in terms of not letting people say certain things. It's
Sure,
not
sure.
about it's not about disagreement. I understand the power of words, and I understand if you validate something, it can become. And you can become all of the things. Just like if you speak into existence how great and beautiful and amazing, and you tell your children every day that Viola Davis, you is smart,
Yeah.
she's saying that to a little white girl,
Yeah.
not her children, by the way. But if you imbue your children with all of that goodness, they're going to walk through the world differently. I was told from a little girl, you are a hunter.
Mm,
That means something. And it never left me. My dad told me that. He said, you didn't ask to come here. So I have to
mm.
do everything in my power to make sure you have everything you need. And you're a hunter, which means there's a requirement of you. Telling that to a little girl, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let me live up to this. But that means something. So I'm saying the porn industry is the largest industry, underground, overground, trafficking of babies, of children. I know what's going on right now with ICE is not kosher. People are being disappeared every single day in this country, and some of it, maybe most of it, is trafficking of human beings.
Mm-hmm.
We were trafficked. Why are we okay with this? Why do we fall into it? Because it's inundating our community. So you flood our community with drugs. Ehrlichman, Nixon did it. Heroin. They followed up 10 years later with crack. And I often said, if we didn't take the crack, how did they know we would take the crack? Well, then they starved us of money. So now this is a way
Right.
for children to make money. Then you criminalize this thing. You take the adults out, put them in jail, take the kids. So it's hard. Like children now are making decisions because there's no parents. Everybody's cracked out. because that's how we make money, because you starved us of any industry, right? And it's not a victim situation. It just is the domino. So where do we stop? Where do we start to rebuild?
So, so are you saying though specifically with porn that because it continues to be presented to us in our neighborhoods and in our communities, I
In
would
our
argue to say
art,
that,
in our art, in our music, it's
but I
telling you
would say
about the
it's a
web this and
I would say porn and sex are a little bit different here. Sure, it's been given to us. The only difference between white folks and black folks is white folks just know how to hide it really well. They hide that ish. Like you got kids that in a never million years think my parents don't watch porn. No, your parents just do a really, really good job of not letting you know what they aren't doing when you ain't around. But that sexuality, that it's not like Epstein's white. You know what I'm saying? And Diddy, and we got R. Kelly, we got all these people. The sex part, the pornography part, the freakiness that has inundated who we are as people has been around and ain't never going anywhere. The question are, where are the lines there? Where do people still feel safe? Where are all those? So I don't want to. I don't want me, Tyler. And I'm not saying that's everybody. I don't want to kink shame anybody if you ain't messing around with little kids. As long as you ain't messing around with little kids and there's consent involved, I'm gonna let you do you. You do you. But also, don't take that and this thing that you may connect to and associate it with what Diddy has done. Like, don't say that those two things are the same or Diddy is just this way, therefore we need to just let him go. Being a freak and a king and doing all your stuff is different than beating a girl down, running a prostitution ring. It's different
Hold
than
on.
dehumanizing a person without their consent.
Even with their consent, like oh, we're
I
gonna
think that's what we
see.
get
So we
into.
do
That's a
we
whole
have
other thing.
because what's consent in a power? Okay, I'm gonna put it out there. Okay,
Let's do
so
it.
Drea Michelle, I think that's her name. I think allegedly she may be a predator, right? But because she's a woman, we don't we don't hold that woman accountable, right? For being with a boy that's the age of her child. You know,
Nah, that's
Larsa Pippen might be, like I feel like we need to have all of the conversations. And it's not just about grown people having sex, it's about the way in which we have devolved the intimacy between human beings into this act that could take, the stuff that I heard coming out of here. That's not, I'm not even saying it's normal because you're right. It's kinky or whatever. But we've even allowed kinkiness to become like, and it's some of that's not kinkiness. Some of it is sickness. Tyler Merritt. All
I
right.
mean, but I'm just saying. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying is one man's normal is another man's kink, right? You
Okay.
got,
All right.
and this is. I'm gonna use this. I don't want to get too deep into sex, but some people may say sex should only be used as a reproductive instrument. If
And
you
those
ain't trying to
people
have
are
a baby,
usually lying. They're usually because they're yeah because and then they'll put a religion behind it. I
but
just watched.
but
Hold on. I just watched Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I apologize for admitting that.
no, no,
I apologize
Karen,
for admitting that. Listen, these Mormons are swinging. They're doing all these kind of things, but they got loopholes, right? So they said there's called a Mormon weekend or something where they'll go to Vegas, get married just so they can have wild sex, and then they'll get the marriage annulled. And then they rinse and repeat, and they keep doing. They get these marriages annulled. They do sex acts like with hot dog buns, like they have all of these. Long as it's not penetration, anything but
right?
it's all a lot. Like that to me is like dishonest because you're trying to find a way to do all the things you want to do and still go to church on Sunday and pretend like you're chaste and I'm still a virgin and all of this stuff. That's something, and that's sick too. If we're being
But what?
honest,
But what
that's
about the
sick.
people? First of all, let me say because I need to put this out in the airwaves because this is going to come back to me. Do you realize how many women I have in my life trying to make me watch some Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and I'm like, no, it's not. No, I ain't gonna do it. And now
Do
you
it,
just admitted it,
do
and
it,
now everybody's gonna be like, Karen does it. Now I'm gonna have my ass watching some Secret
do
Lives
it.
of Mormon Wives.
Go
Is
do
all I'm
it.
trying to say.
It's a revelation because what it tells me is that everybody's out here with this fake ass pretend bullcrap projection of morality, while
That
the worst pedophiles in this country wear a damn cross and a
this is
collar.
what I am saying. This is my whole point. Is what I'm saying is there are things that individuals do that I think there has to be some sort of rules to this, and I think not messing with kids. But that's a no. That's a give. That's a period.
But
That's a period.
you know
Like
how they used to say marijuana was a gateway drug.
yeah.
I Porn is anyway. Let's go to the phones because I have too many opinions that. But again, they're my opinions. So guess what? I don't live my life that way because I have these opinions. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to judge you for doing the things as long as it's
Well,
not.
but I think
But
there's a difference between going, I'm not going to judge you if no one is getting hurt, if nobody is getting hurt in the midst of this. But when you cross this line over, we can't act like it's all just in one pool. Like Diddy being a freak and using more baby oil than any human ever should is not the same as Diddy beating the snot out of Cassie and trafficking people.
all
Not the
of
same.
what one could say though, it's adjacent, and that one behavior allows you to, if you could dehumanize somebody in the bedroom, you could dehumanize them in every area. Just like racism and misogyny is probably the same, even though it's different, it's the same. I feel like if you have the ability to dehumanize somebody in the
Good,
bedroom,
kid.
you.
This is good. What you're saying is dead on. The misogyny thing, when you go back to that, you're right. It's adjacent, but it's not the same.
But it's got the same DNA. Let's say that.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not